Hello everyone, my name is Adam, and welcome to the Vintage Sanctuary, a place where we can enjoy the community, the history, the artistry, and the nostalgic feelings associated with vintage cards. I do have a few things I want to say before we get into this topic, and I made some notes to keep me on track. My goal is to do 1 or maybe 2 videos a week, but I have this new member of the vintage card community exuberance, so you have probably seen me come off like a hyperactive puppy at times. Thank you for your grace with me. In my first couple of videos, I went with quite a few attempts at humor. I don't always intend to be that humorous, but I do like throwing in some humor. I hope you have either enjoyed my lame attempts at humor or you have graciously overlooked them. I'm not looking for praise here. I have already received a warm welcome into this community. Plus, I'm well aware that my content is not perfect, nor will it ever be. I do want to thank some of you by name, so here goes. Baseball Collector, or by channel name anyway. Those Back Pages. The Mangini Collection. G's Mikey. Wade Boggs Collector. Double D Vintage Baseball Cards, Pepino Man, and Talking Ball Cards, to name just a few. I am grateful to all of you, and please forgive me, because I left names off the list that have helped me along my journey as well, and I know that you'll continue to help me on my vintage journey. So thank you. I came up with the channel name Vintage Sanctuary while I was out running about a week ago and mulling over potential names in my mind. I took my first video before thinking to check if that name had already been taken, but fortunately it was not. One reason Vintage Sanctuary appealed to me is I am a person of faith. However, whether or not you are a person of faith, I am more than happy to connect with you as a fellow vintage card collector. Now on to the topic, but first let me get you looking at a card. The featured card of the day. I will show this beauty in more detail shortly, but first, do I even have a clue what to collect? Something Dylan of Double D Vintage Baseball Cards said really grabbed me and helped me realize that now is an ideal time to set the direction of my vintage baseball card collection while it is still under 100 cards. So far, my strategy has been quite simple. If I like a card and it fits my budget, then I might just buy it. Of course, I won't always buy a card just because I have the money and I like the card. Otherwise, I would run out of hobby money pretty much immediately. What will my collecting strategy and focus be? It's definitely going to be vintage cards, but which ones? Should I only collect vintage Hall of Famers? Or should my list be more exclusive? I could collect players who have accomplished any of the following feats: Triple Crown hitting, Triple Crown pitching, 300 hit club, 300 win club, MVP winners, World Series MVP winners, or Cy Young winners. Of course, there are actually quite a few players who have accomplished one of these feats and are not in the Hall of Fame. Plus, I have enjoyed collecting some players who clearly contributed to Yankees dynasties, but they are not all in the Hall of Fame. And here's a dilemma. The card you see in front of you is a 1952 Topps Ted Kluszewski, the Big Clue. He has not accomplished any of the feats just mentioned, but there is no way in HE double toothpicks I want to get rid of this card. Let me show you this beauty in more detail. This is a PSA 3 that I won at auction back in December. It's got such beautiful, rich color. And let me show you the back. So maybe it's as simple as collect what you like, but perhaps my collection needs more of a focus than that. Why do I love this card so much? It's 1952 Topps. It's a beautiful image to me that just screams vintage. Some of these have a pinkish tint like this one that I think really enhances the appeal. The Big Clue was known for his bulging biceps and mammoth home runs during the 1950s, the heart of the vintage era. He cut off his shirt sleeves because they restricted his batting swing. Management didn't like that, but were they really going to stop him? He did lead the National League in both home runs and RBIs in 1954, so I guess that would be a double crown? Perhaps one of his greatest claims to fame is that during his peak years, he was hitting more home runs than his number of strikeouts. 1953, 40 home runs but only 34 strikeouts. 1954, when he led the league with 49 home runs but only 35 strikeouts. 1955, 47 home runs but only 40 strikeouts. 1956, 35 home runs but only 31 strikeouts. Although Clue's 1956 numbers were impressive, back issues were already starting to limit him and cause him pain. Those back issues are almost certainly the reason he did not accomplish quite enough to get into the Hall of Fame. Perhaps I will make a list of feats, and if a vintage-era player has accomplished any of them, that player could be in my collection. I could always simply add one more feat to the list. If you are known for bulging biceps and mammoth home runs, you make the cut. That was some pretty subtle humor because the Big Clue made the cut all right, cutting his sleeves right off of his shirt. I would love to see your thoughts. When it comes to collecting, I may not have a clue, but I have the Big Clue, and perhaps that is all that matters. My fellow collectors, until next time, be at peace.